Welcome to Tent Makers. We're going to go ahead and jump on in tonight. Tonight, we're talking about roadblocks, common roadblocks that we have. Maybe it's not nighttime where you're at. But one of the big roadblocks that a lot of people have is just getting started. And so for Waldina and I, we got started a couple of years ago. We had a few properties and we wanted to figure out, is the Airbnb thing, is it possible? And so we had a little bit of a safe jump in ourselves. One side of our one property was already rented and paid for the mortgage. And so we were able to try it out with the second one. But a lot of times in business, it's not until we have a pain point that we're actually able to move forward. Or sometimes it's when we feel cornered or trapped or like there's nowhere else to go and we have to get something done, that all of a sudden we explode and become the people that we need to be in order to get those things done. But if you don't have the right passion and the right motivation, which is something we're going to talk about another week, then a lot of times it's difficult to put in the time in order to actually make something grow, make something happen, build the business, become an entrepreneur, and we wind up continuing to put off and put off and put off becoming or building a business. And I wanted to read tonight from Ephesians chapter 5, and it says in verse 15 and 16, "Look carefully then how you walk, not as unwise, but as wise, making the best use of the time, because the days are evil." And this is a tried and true scripture. I mean, we turn to the scripture for a lot of different things, but at the end of the day, it is about time management and what we do with our time. And so for us, what we found is that if you don't have it scheduled, then it's not going to happen. And so even locally, we've told those who are tent makers, put it in your schedule. Put it as a part of your day where, you know what, for 1 hour or 2 hours a day, I'm going to work at building this business, or I'm going to work at this specific thing. If you don't have a plan, or if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. This is a common saying. Many of us know this, but it's very true. If you don't put something into practice in your schedule, if you don't block out time, just like having your quiet time, if you don't block out time, the most important thing in your day, spending time with God, a lot of times you still won't do it. So when it comes to building a business, if we've got a passion or we have a reason why we want to build it, but you don't put in time, then it's still not going to happen. You've got to be able to block out time in order to spend the time researching, to find out where you want to dig into, to spend time getting input from other people, understanding where, get coaching, to spend time building the business, whether it's in sales and you're creating digital design content, or you're setting up a property, or it's photography, whatever it is, what you're doing is going to take some time at least to initially build before money starts coming in. And so you've got to block out chunks of your time. And like the saying goes, if you don't have, or the illustration of the jar, you've got to put your big and important rocks in first. Otherwise, all the little ones won't get put in. If you're trying to fill, if you've got a bunch of different size rocks and sand at the bottom, and you're trying to put it in a jar, you got to put the big rocks in first in order for all of it to fit in. If you put the big rocks in last, there won't be time for them. You'll find yourself distracted with other things and unfocused. So put it in your schedule. That's the first thing. And then make it happen. That's something where, oh, well, you know what? I can get to it next week. I can get to it next week. I can get to it next week. That can happen for us. And if you don't actually stick to your schedule, then you're never going to build a business either. And then be clear-minded and focus. Get rid of the distractions, shut the door, put in headphones if you need to, whatever you need to do in order to actually stay focused, then do that. So number one, put it in your schedule. Number two, make it actually happen in your schedule. And number three, get rid of the distractions so that you can actually focus. And then number four, put it in a time of the day when you are mentally clear and focused. If you're someone who gets really sleepy at night, then don't do it late at night. If you're someone who wakes up completely groggy and you have a tough time getting going in the morning, then don't put it at the first point in the morning. For me, I get a second wind at night. My brain turns on and I have ideas and I can dig in and I get things done. So for me, after 10 o'clock is a great time actually for me to dig in and do this type of thing or learn new things or, whatever it might be. But in the middle of the day, when you're feeling sluggish, that's not the right time to try and do something like this. So the last one is put it at a time of the day when you are mentally sharp normally. So those are just a couple of tips and tricks. One of the roadblocks is creating time where if you're someone who you haven't made much progress in the last couple of weeks or months, you haven't been hitting your weekly goals, you haven't been doing the things that you wanted to do with your business, then make sure that it is in your schedule, you stick to it, you're focused and undistracted, and you put it at a good time of the day. That's all we have for today. I hope this helps out.